I am.
Greetings, family, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life very much on your own terms, in your own narrative. And I'm telling you, family, you'd better be in your own narrative because, as I always say, depending on how you're thinking, we are in the best of times, we are in the worst of times. Depending on where your mind and heart is, you are either collapsing with a Babylon system which has just run out of ideas, they can't create anything else, and reinventing, like going back to the same old isn't working for them. They're not creative beings, so all they can do is copy paste, and there's not much else to copy paste when they're in this kind of situation. When something is dying, it literally takes creators to bring it back to life, and if you're not a creator spirit, it just doesn't work. And the ones who have been ruling this world are not creative, family. They're takers. They're only destroyers, but they lack that creative aspect. But those are stories for the days. Please make sure that you're still subscribed, family. I've heard from so many of you who tell me, like, you've been unsubscribed. Of course, what do we expect? What do we expect? Make sure that you also turn on your notification bell so that you can know every time we upload a new show. And special shout out, family, to everyone who supports us through Patreon. We have a lot more exclusive content there that we haven't shared on here. And to everyone that sends us a love donation, we are so appreciative of you guys. And there is a gift for you in the mail, a special, lovely, trust me, a lovely, lovely gift in your mail. So definitely check your mail, family. As I've been saying this whole year, Africa is, or the so-called South, is next in line for global leadership. And it won't be through puppets. We are the next puppet masters, if you want to look at it like that, family. We are the next ones to dictate and determine the direction of the motherland. It is happening on a spiritual level. And if you are strong enough, if you have done the work of healing and restoring your mind and your heart, trust me, the ancestors are looking for you and they will be contacting you. They will be working on you. They'll be refining your gifts. A lot of, those are the so-called chosen ones, but a lot of have unchosen themselves. But if you've been working yourself and doing the individual things that are necessary, then you are about to be called to global duty or to a duty in your community or to works. And trust me, the Most High is the best payer. I don't know who I was talking about this with. The Most High is the best payer, family. And so, right now, as I've said before on the spiritual show, please check that out if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed there. We are not here to save anyone, but we're here to be the best cheerleaders. And if we get that role of basically being the best cheerleader is living out your wildest dream. And so for you to live out your wildest dream, family, and live your best life, that's what is required of you. So you can encourage your brothers and sisters to also do the same. But the thing I wanted to talk about, family, is to encourage each and every one of you to really mentally and spiritually and emotionally invest in Africa being liberated. Let's break the narrative as the year ends, family, of us being in poverty, of us being in lack, because the war has always been mental. The liberation is also mental. But throughout the years that I've been doing this, and I'm in my 5th year now, just of doing this on YouTube, what I realize is we're being defeated mentally every single time because we've become addicted to certain storylines and certain narratives. It's like we get an emotional hit or a woe is me, feeling sorry for ourselves, that kind of like high from that. And so we're always constantly sharing and discussing, oh, they're doing this to us, oh, they've taken this, oh, they've done this. We're always discussing the negative. And it's important for us to share the negative so we can cancel it out, which is why I share certain stories here. But a lot of people who have also become citizen reporters Make more money, because for a lot of people it's a money family. Make more money when they do these negative stories, because you guys are still addicted to clicking on the negative things that are happening to Africa more than connecting with all the good and the transformational things, because we have to transition, family, from spreading awareness of just how bad it was, of just how we were being stilled, killed, and destroyed, of what's happening in Congo, of what's happening in Sudan, of what's happening in Somalia. At least now we know, because the worst of the worst happened because we were ignorant. And trust me, family, now that we know, there's a lot that just us knowing is preventing from happening. It's like the minute we found out and the minute we knew, we locked off all channels, or like for the perpetuation of their plans. We blocked it, we stopped it in its tracks. And so now it's like to reverse it by putting new ideas into the atmosphere, by having new conversations about what could happen in Congo, what could happen differently in Somalia and in Sudan and in Haiti. Because I've realized, like, what these guys are doing is they're using the news, first of all, to delay us, to distract us, to break our spirit, to break our momentum, to make us still that they're, that's the first thing, to mess with our minds, to mind mess us up here. The second thing they're doing is to continue to perpetuate that they still have all this power, that they still have all this control over Mama Africa, that they're the ones that are dictating everything. But they know what spiritual time it is, family. And they're just hoping that enough of us can also that they can continue to confuse us to also not knowing what time it is. It's like I was having a conversation with one of my sisters, and she was talking about, she was just who was it who I had this conversation with? Actually, no, it was this brilliant painter called Duma. And he was just reminding me that, actually, you know what? I'm not even sure who I had this conversation with, but it blew my mind. I'm actually trying to trace it now. And we were talking about how the world is currently ruled by the 1%. And then there's 5% that has been sent here to change the world. And the way they change the world is, by getting the control of the group consciousness. Because the way the 1% controls the world is through information and through knowledge. They are the keepers and manipulators of the narrative. And there's 5% of us, the chosen ones, the elite chosen ones, the messiahs, whatever you want to call yourself, the prophets, the seers, the healers, who are here to awaken, even if it's just 5%, but to transform and awaken and liberate this 9% from the mental slavery. And the 1%, they know that we are here because they have their tarot readers and their fake, seers and stuff who can only see to a certain point because they use spirits like the jinn spirits, etc., etc. I'm not going to get too into that. But basically, they've been doing everything they can to delay this 5% from being mentally liberated and then from being seen and heard, which is why there's so much crazy shadow banning and, a crazy fight on those who are the truth speakers. But once these people balance in their own energy, they cannot be influenced by these because they go above. Maybe I'll explain that. If you're interested, let me know and I can get deeper into that. So basically, family, in order for you right now, as a child of the motherland, as a child of the Bantu, as a child of the chosen ones, as a child of the people of the, however you want, or the originals, however you want to put it. And Bantu simply means our people. Or the people of the sky. Anyway, let me not get to, I'm getting even too into many things, family. But your role, family, if you want to be part of the new beginning, is to connect yourself to the narrative where Africa is winning, where the motherland is winning, where the leadership is being transferred. To make that your story. And every time you hear a negative story about the motherland, where we're being defeated, turn it around. Cancel it. Delete it. Any invasion energy, return it back to sender. Because we need to be the same prayers and transmutations and alchemizations of the negative energy that we receive that bombard us every day, that we've been cleansing, is the same energy we now need to cleanse from our home, which is, the motherland. And this is the only way that we get our inheritance as African people. This is the only way we get back control and ownership of our gold mines and our diamond mines and our amethyst mines. It's only when we get back control of the motherland story, and it's only when we alchemize and release and transmute all the negative energy, all the verbal vomit, all the verbal curses that have been placed on us by others, our so-called oppressors, and that we have perpetuated by ourselves, because we are more powerful now spiritually than our oppressors, which is why you're seeing a massive shift on all levels. And if you can look at some of the stories I've shared recently about how now even the European Union Parliament is discussing how to give us reparations. We're not even waiting for those reparations, but there's such an agitation in the spiritual realm that it is hitting the physical realm. The British Parliament have formed a reparations committee, which is done by the descendants of the so-called slaves and the so-called colonized, who have grown up in the divided kingdom, who look like I, and now have entered Parliament and are seeking justice. These are just the physical things. But as we dismantle and seek justice, there's also the building. But we cannot do the building if we're still crying over a brokenness that has now passed. And so as we enter New Year, family, as we enter 2024, which is going to be a massive, massive year of abundance, of restoration, and of quantum leaping, make sure that your mind is focused on the right thing, on the right narrative. Even if you're still bombarded by the negative, start to make that at least 10, 20, 30, 40% of your thought process is focused on how we're making it, on how our lives are transformed. Because that is how we will transform the destiny of our nations and the destiny of the world. Tuko pamoja.